All right, let's finish up this week of reviewing the Civil War in social studies today. We're going to look at this standard today. We're going to talk about the border states, explain the efforts of both the Union and the Confederacy to secure the border states for their causes. So both the North and the South wanted those states to help them fight, didn't they? So let's read about it and find out who helped who and why they were wanting the border states to help them so much. So the border states in the Civil War. I'm going to read this text. We'll have some multiple choice questions afterwards. Make sure you pay attention. You can always go back up to the slides and find the answers. Description. Well, the border states during the Civil War were the slave states who did not secede from the Union. These included Delaware, Kentucky, Maryland, and Missouri. West Virginia separated from Virginia and was considered a border state too. Sometimes Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Kansas were called border states too because they had strong support for both the Confederacy and the Union. Border states gave the Union an advantage in troops, factories, and money. Kentucky. Let's talk about the individual ones. By the way, if we look at the blue states here, that's the Union. The red states are the South. The yellow are these border states that we're reading about today. You can kind of see why they're called the border states. They're on the border between the North and the South. They're slave states, but they didn't secede. Kentucky started the war as a neutral state, but came under Union control. Their loyalty to the Union was considered an important factor in the North winning the war by President Abraham Lincoln. Maryland was the only state standing between Virginia and the Union capital of Washington, D.C. during the Civil War. The war would have likely gone very different if Maryland had seceded from the Union. Maryland abolished slavery during the War of 1864. So Maryland's right here. It's hard to see on this map. It's kind of tiny, but it's this right here. It's kind of an odd shape, and Washington, D.C. is right here, right on the border between Maryland and Virginia. And so if Maryland right here had become red, a slave state, Washington, D.C. would be surrounded by the Confederacy. That would have been a bad thing. Missouri chose to remain with the Union at the start of the Civil War, but many of its citizens felt the war against the Confederacy was wrong. Missouri's state government split into two rival governments during the war. One decided to secede from the Union, while the other government wanted to remain. Missouri was claimed by both the Union and the Confederacy for a period of time. Delaware. Even though Delaware was technically a slave state, very few people owned slaves there when the war broke out. Delaware did not border any Confederate states and were always loyal to the Union. West Virginia. West Virginia broke away from Virginia when they seceded from the Union. The people of West Virginia were split, though. Around 20,000 of their men fought for the Confederacy. You've got brother versus brother. There were several cases where brothers fought their brothers on the same battlefield. Families were even split over the issue. Some sons even fought against their fathers in the war. Man, that's sad, isn't it? All right. Well, you've got some questions here, just like you have this week. And we're going to do it the same way. Take your little yellows and I've done that every single day this week, haven't I? Take your little yellow circle, and I'm just not doing good. And put it on whatever you think the answer is, okay? So slide it over there, whatever you think the answer is. Go find the answers in the text. Like all the other ones this week, this one will be a grade as well. Okay, so go back, reread about the border states, answer these questions, and then you can get you'll be one assignment closer to the weekend. I hope you have a great one.